Our real identity, you know how you can check if it's our real identity? Because when we're living in our real identity, it always leads us to trust the answers that Spirit places in us. Our real identity needs no confirmation from something or someone outside of ourselves. We live our real identity when we express our divinity. This is a committing process, if you will. This involves committing ourselves to always identifying ourselves as our truth to all of the world. I can show up at a bank and I can present a check to a bank. And the first thing they're going to say is, "Do you have identification?" And then I can pull out something. Now, if I pull out a Florida driver's license and it has the picture of a beautiful African-American female on it, and the name on the check says Frank Phillip, and they look at the picture and they say, "There must be a mistake. We're not going to clear this check for you because you have misidentified yourself." God shows up with metaphorical checks. Our calling, our dreams, our vision, our passions, our gifts, our talents. Yes, even our trials and tribulations are the divinity within ourselves expressing our highest power. And the first thing we are called to do is say, "I am a child of God in this very moment," and identify ourselves. As we commit to a deep desire to express God, then we truly appreciate what it means to be a child of God. I've come to remind everyone today that if there appears a wall, that if a wall exists between our life and our understanding of God, that this barrier is this wall, if you will, the handwriting on the wall says identity theft. That the wall is not real, it is an illusion. It is a prejudicial lie that exists in our mind only. But we know something about a lie that's believed as true, operates as truth in our life. And so we can no longer focus on separation. We can no longer conceal an awareness of God from our present-day circumstances, because all this will do is to continue to reinforce the identity theft. And the healing, if you will, or the alignment of spirit in our life today begins by declaring who and what we are in truth. There is an answer, and the answer happens every morning when an alarm clock goes off. It is a sign for us to wake up. And so there should be an alarm clock that goes off every time we are called to identify ourselves to an external situation, to wake up and realize that our identity is real, it is true, it is spiritual, it is holy, and there is nothing impossible to God in us. Every day for our entire life, we are at a crossroads in the journey. Every day is an intersection between our history and our future. No day is better than any day before it, and no day after is better. Every day represents this intersection between yesterday and tomorrow, and how we identify ourselves today is what we tell the world. And so let us tell the world how powerful we are. Let us tell the world how healthy we are. Let us tell the world how abundant we are right here and right now. You know, I was thinking, I really wish I could report to the church. I wish I could report to the world that my call to ministry was smooth and clear and straightforward. I wish I can report a story that's like a fairy book novel that brought me, from where I was to where I am today. But I wish I could say I've never made a mistake. I wish I could say I've never slipped up. I wish I could say, looking back, I have no regrets. But I cannot say this. Like everyone else, I am on a spiritual journey. Like every one of us who's seated next to every one of us, we all have a history. We all have a story. We all have a way that we have identified ourselves. And our work, like all of us, is to no longer permit our past to identify ourselves in the present. To no longer allow yesterday to become our today so that it just keeps repeating tomorrow after tomorrow. Unity has taught me to accept myself every day and to wake up that God's Spirit in me every moment I catch myself sleepwalking. Yes, if we're honest with ourselves, much of our life we are sleepwalking to the truth. We are sleepwalking to the fact that we are sons and daughters of God. We are sleepwalking to the fact that we are powerful beyond measure. We are sleepwalking to the fact that there is nothing that can ever hurt us unless we invite it and allow it to. And so identity begins with waking up. Each one of us can understand that there is an awareness of what God means to us in our life. Not only do we have identified ourselves, we've identified God. And as many people are seated here today, is as many as identities of God are. Our understanding of God forms our ability to co-create the Spirit of a living God in our life. And just as we are free to choose our identity, we are free to identify the power and presence of God in our life. We are free to choose where we belong, and we are free to release where we don't belong. You see, freedom is a very beautiful gift, but it is a two-sided coin. It is both a blessing and a curse sometimes in our life, because freedom will always lead us down two different paths. There'll always be a division in the road, in the woods, for us to choose when we're given freedom, because we're allowed to identify ourselves with the temporary material outer world. We're allowed to attach our joy and our peace with people, places, and things outside of ourselves because we are free. Yet we're also allowed to identify ourselves with the great world within that we call the indwelling Christ. That where there is real life and real power, and where intelligence and truth and eternal grace exists in every situation. You see, freedom invites us to identify ourselves with our ego, or we identify ourselves with God, and then we express the identity that we've declared to ourselves. Spiritual growth is wonderful, and as spiritual growth occurs more and more, there's an invitation to search out more of our God self in the present day situation. And let me tell you something about a search. In metaphysics, in truth, in spirituality, in unity, we always find what we are searching for.